Hey everyone, welcome again to this Halloween special edition of Appropriated Productions, the high-resolution, low-brow, apolitically correct freedom of speech art company. In this episode, we're going to be taking a quick look at a short clip of a video between, it's an interview between Roger Scruton, the late great Roger Scruton, and one Jordan Peterson as they talk about cultural appropriation and its effects today, to a much higher resolution than I could ever offer. I took a shot in our introductory video. This will be better. And we feel it's appropriate today to appropriate this appropriate video of Peterson and Scruton talking about appropriation because of we sort of have a bit of a history on Halloween, don't we, with how people dressing up. And these guys get right to the point. The idea is it's frequently more about putting yourself in someone else's shoes than it is about taking their stuff. Anyway, here is the video. We hope you enjoy.
And I think sometimes in my more dire moments that this opposition to cultural appropriation, right? So the idea that I'm not allowed anymore to imagine myself, say, fictionally as a woman or as a character from another ethnicity, or even to play the role, that role as an actor. I think that it's part of the assault on the idea of the individual and the non-zero sum game, because it precludes the possibility that I can take on the role of another in an understanding manner and actually facilitate a dialogue. And that undermines the claim, I would say, that everything is only a secondary consequence of power. Because if I can actually bridge that gap, well then I'm not isolated in my group or my ethnicity or whatever it is. I can become partly you and we can communicate. And I would say because of that, literature and art is a great threat to ideology, especially of the group identity kind. And of course they're perfectly aware of that, which is why the radicals on that side of the equation are doing everything they can to I had a reporter from the New York Times who wrote a rather scurrilous piece about me. She had done a literature degree at Columbia, a bright woman, and she told me in all honesty and in apparent transparency that she had no idea, this is how deep this has become saturated into our culture, she had no idea until she had graduated from Columbia that there was any other way of reading a work of literature except through the postmodern lens. And the postmodern lens is, well, who are the groups that are being represented, and what power games are at play, and who benefits? And I mean, I don't know if, because she turned out to be quite a strange person, but so I have no idea if that was a ploy on her part, or whether that was like a naive, what would you call, confession. But it's increasingly the case that is how literature is taught. In my home province of Ontario, the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario wants to start teaching literature from a postmodern critical perspective in elementary school, to demolish it.
Well, there we are. I mean, I'm in favour of cultural appropriation. I mean, I'm a product of it. I appropriated the idea of the English gentleman, and I try and made myself be it. And I know it's a failure because
That's part of doing it well.
Yeah. But I've understood the world from the inside in another way. But I just wrote a book of stories which was just reviewed by somebody who says, these stories make cultural appropriation into a virtue. So I felt good about that. But they begin with an inside view of the psyche of a terrorist, of an Arab terrorist who has a legacy of vengeance and who is a failure and whose loss I try to make real in the feelings of the reader as he reads it, and then the subsequent stories show the same kind of loss in completely different people. So
I wanted to